The real trap isn't lack of money, it's the invisible mental pattern that stops it from flowing. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a flow problem. You see, wealth isn't created by effort alone. It's created by alignment, the inner rhythm between what you think, what you believe, and how you move energy. If your mind blocks the current, your life will mirror that resistance. In this audiobook, I'm going to tear open the psychology behind flow and show you exactly why most people stay financially stuck, and how you can finally break free. Asterisk, before we start, please subscribe below.
Chapter 1. Stop chasing, start aligning. You've been taught to chase. Chase goals. Chase success. Chase money. But chasing keeps you behind. Always behind. Because the harder you chase, the faster it runs. You think you're being productive. You think you're hustling. But underneath that hustle is fear. Fear that if you stop running, everything will stop. That if you slow down, you'll fall behind. That's the trap. Because chasing is not movement. Chasing is panic. And panic never creates abundance, it only creates exhaustion. You see, money doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to alignment. When you chase, you're sending a signal, I don't have enough. And the universe echoes that signal right back. You're right. You don't. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. Say that again to yourself. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. If your identity is built around lack, money will treat you like lack. If your energy screams scarcity, opportunity won't stick. Because everything in life moves toward resonance. This is what I call the law of energetic alignment. You can't run in fear and receive in peace. You can't chase in anxiety and expect abundance to flow. That's not flow, and that's friction. Let's get real. You've probably felt this. You worked harder than ever. You pushed, grinded, stayed up late. But the results? They didn't match your effort. You made more moves but got less flow. Why? Because the energy behind those moves was misaligned. You were chasing from fear, not creating from power. You were acting like someone trying to catch the train of wealth, instead of becoming the person who drives it. You have a choice. Keep running after the illusion of more, or start aligning with the energy that makes more inevitable. Here's the truth. Money doesn't like to be hunted. It likes to be invited. You invite it through clarity, purpose, and confidence, though, not through chase and panic. You can't demand flow, you align with it. Let me paint you a real-world picture. Two people wake up with the same goal, to earn more. The first jumps out of bed with anxiety. Their mind is racing. I need to close more deals. I need to get more clients. I need to survive. They hustle from fear. Their energy is heavy. Their words carry tension. They might get results, but they burn out fast. The second person wakes up calm, centered, focused. They visualize what they want. They plan strategically. They move from intention, not desperation. Their actions are bold but grounded. Their energy says, I am enough. I create wealth effortlessly. Guess who gets more opportunities? The one who's aligned, not the one who's afraid. Because alignment is louder than effort. You don't need to chase what you can attract. You don't need to prove your worth. You need to embody it. Stop moving against your current. Start flowing with it. So what does alignment look like in practice? It starts with inner stillness. Sit with your goals. Feel the energy behind them. Are they born from lack or expansion? Do you want money because you're afraid? Or because you're ready to expand? If your desire comes from fear, it will drain you. If it comes from alignment, it will charge you. That's the difference between force and flow. When you chase, you use force. When you align, you use frequency. Force drains. Frequency sustains. Here's what you must understand. Money flows to clarity. When your inner world is chaotic, your financial world will mirror it. When your mind is noisy, your results get distorted. You have to calm the noise before you can hear the signal. That's the work. That's the discipline. Stop running, sit, breathe, listen. When you slow down, you start noticing the patterns. You realize half your effort was coming from fear. You see how often you made decisions just to escape discomfort. You see how often you said yes to things that drained your energy, just because you were afraid of missing out. That's not success. That's survival. And survival has no flow. True wealth requires energetic maturity, the ability to hold peace in the middle of pressure, It's not about doing more. It's about being more, being grounded, being clear, being unshakable. That's the key. You can't attract flow if you're emotionally leaking energy every day. You can't invite abundance while you're broadcasting panic. You can't open the door to prosperity while holding the lock of fear. So here's what I want you to start doing today. Before every financial decision, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this from fear or from flow? Am I chasing money or am I aligning with value? If the energy feels desperate, stop, recenter, realign. Take a breath before every yes. Pause before every hustle. When you move slower, you move stronger. You don't need to chase to prove your worth. You don't need their permission to rest. You don't need to grind to deserve wealth. You simply need to align with it. Because flow isn't found through motion. It's found through meaning. Money doesn't flow because of how fast you move. It flows because of how clearly you move. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So become what you seek. Become calm if you want peace. Become value if you want wealth. Become trust if you want flow. Every time you act from peace, you amplify your magnetism. Every time you choose clarity over chaos, you open another channel for abundance. And every time you stop chasing, you start receiving. You have a choice. Keep running in circles or start walking in flow. Stop chasing money like prey. Start aligning with it like power. You don't need to force what was meant to flow. That's alignment. That's mastery. Now you understand why chasing kills the current, and alignment restores it. You've stopped running. You've started seeing, but awareness alone isn't enough, because even when you align, there's still one more trap. The hidden system of beliefs that silently block your flow. And that's where we go next. You've stopped chasing. Now it's time to reprogram what you believe. Chapter 2. The energy of belief. Everything starts with belief. Before money moves, belief moves. Before flow begins, belief aligns. And before you change your financial reality, you must change the software that runs it. Because belief isn't just an opinion. Belief is energy. Belief is the code that tells the universe what to send you. Belief is not a thought. It's the software of your financial reality. You can't outwork your belief system. You can't outrun your programming. You can grind, hustle, and struggle. But if your belief says, I'm always behind, then you will always find yourself behind. You have a choice. To live from the belief that you are lacking, or to live from the belief that you are limitless. And that choice determines everything. Let's get clear on something. Money doesn't care about how hard you work. It cares about the energy you carry while you work. Two people can do the same thing, take the same action, invest the same effort, and get completely different outcomes. Why? Because one person believes they are creating freedom. The other believes they are escaping survival. Same action, opposite energy. One expands, the other constricts. That's the key. Money amplifies the vibration you're already living in. It doesn't make you more powerful. It makes you more of what you already are. If your belief is rooted in fear, money multiplies that fear. If your belief is rooted in confidence, money multiplies that confidence. You've seen it. People who win big then lose it all. They didn't lose the money. They lost alignment with belief. Their old belief system couldn't handle their new level of abundance. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your beliefs. That's why the work isn't about chasing more. It's about believing differently. You might say, I believe in myself. But here's the truth. Your belief isn't what you say consciously. It's what your subconscious repeats when no one's watching. That voice that says you'll never get ahead. That voice that whispers you don't deserve that. That voice that convinces you to play small just to stay safe. That's your real belief. And until you rewrite that program, you'll keep running the same loop. Belief shapes behavior. Behavior shapes results. Results reinforce belief. It's a loop. And it runs your life until you interrupt it. You have to be the disruptor of your own code. You have to say no more. No more believing that struggle is normal. No more believing that money is hard. No more believing that wealth belongs to other people. You don't need their permission to believe in your abundance. You don't need your past to agree with your future. You only need to decide that the old belief ends now. That's how you rewrite your flow. Now listen closely. There are two main belief frequencies, survival and expansion. Survival says, I must get money to feel safe. Expansion says, I am safe, Therefore, money flows to me. When you believe from survival, your energy is tight, anxious, protective. You act small. You play defense. You make choices out of fear, not vision. And you end up working harder for smaller results. When you believe from expansion, your energy is open. You create from inspiration, not fear. You're not chasing security. You're expressing purpose. That's when you enter flow. Belief creates emotion. Emotion creates vibration. Vibration creates reality. That's the hierarchy of flow. Change your belief and everything below it shifts. Here's a real-world example. Two freelancers work side by side. Both have the same skill, same hours, same opportunities. One charges low prices because they believe clients won't pay more. The other charges premium prices because they believe their value is undeniable. Guess what happens? The first one attracts bargain hunters who question every invoice. The second one attracts loyal clients who pay on time and refer others. Same talent, different belief. And that single difference creates two completely different financial lives. It's not luck. It's not privilege. It's belief in action. You have to start believing like someone who already has what they desire. You have to act from that identity now. That's alignment. That's embodiment. Don't wait for proof to believe. Belief itself creates proof. Faith precedes evidence. That's how flow begins, and from invisible conviction, not external validation. Stop saying, I'll believe it when I see it. Start saying, I'll see it because I believe it. That's the reprogramming of your energy field. Let's talk about how to do it, practically. Step 1. Identify the limiting belief. Ask yourself, what do I believe about money that keeps me small? Maybe it's I have to work harder than everyone else. Maybe it's I'm not good with numbers. Maybe it's people like me don't get rich. Write it down. Don't sugarcoat it, because awareness breaks the illusion. Step 2. Disprove it. Find evidence of people who broke that same belief. Find stories of those who created abundance despite starting from nothing. That's your proof that belief is not truth, it's choice. Step 3. Replace it. Every time your old belief speaks, interrupt it. Replace money is hard with money is flowing. Replace I can't with I'm capable. Replace I need to survive with I choose to expand. Do it until it becomes your new internal rhythm. That's how you train your subconscious to align with flow. Because here's the secret. You don't need to fight your old beliefs. You need to outgrow them. They fall away when your new identity becomes stronger. Belief doesn't change overnight. It changes through consistency. That's discipline, and that's what separates those who flow from those who fight. So stop blaming luck. Stop waiting for proof. Stop worshiping struggle. You have a choice. Keep living inside your old belief system, or step into a new one. One that says, I am enough. I am worthy. I am the current that moves wealth. Because belief is not a thought. It's the software of your financial reality, and your software determines everything that runs through you. If you don't update the code, your flow will always crash. If you don't believe you deserve more, you'll keep rejecting the very opportunities that could set you free. Your belief either opens the gate or shuts it tight. So ask yourself right now, is my belief system expanding me or limiting me? Is it rooted in fear or in faith? Because that question alone can change your direction. You are not your past. You are your pattern, and patterns can be rewritten. You can rebuild the code of your reality starting today. Remember, belief before behavior. Identity before income. That's how flow starts. Now you've understood how belief shapes everything, how it fuels or blocks your financial current. But even with strong belief, there's another hidden obstacle: resistance. The silent force that pulls you back just when things start to work. You've built the belief. Now let's talk about how to remove the friction. Chapter 3, the resistance reflex. You say you want more money. You say you want flow. But the truth is, you're resisting it not consciously, not loudly, but subtly, silently, through guilt, through fear, through unworthiness. Most people don't fail because they lack opportunity. They fail because they resist it. They don't push forward because of the lack of money. They hold back because of the weight of resistance. You say you're open to abundance, but deep down you're afraid of what it will reveal about you. You're afraid of judgment, afraid of responsibility, afraid of success. That's the resistance reflex. It's invisible. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It doesn't stop you directly. It slows you down quietly. You hesitate when you should act. You overthink when you should move. You sabotage just when things start to work. That's resistance in motion. Every time you doubt, you disconnect the current. Every time you question your worth, you block the flow. Every time you delay what you already know you need to do, you reinforce the pattern that keeps you stuck. That's the key. Resistance isn't outside of you. It's inside your decisions. It hides in your habits. It hides in your timing. It hides behind the excuses that sound logical. You've said them before. I just need to plan more. I'll do it when I'm ready. I don't want to risk it yet. That's not strategy. That's fear pretending to be intelligence. You don't need their permission. You don't need more time. You don't need a perfect plan. You need to stop resisting the flow that's already trying to find you. Let's get brutally honest. When money starts to come in, do you feel peace under pressure? When opportunity knocks, do you open or overthink? When someone offers help, do you receive it or explain why you don't deserve it? That's resistance. It doesn't look like sabotage. It looks like control. The need to manage every detail to ensure nothing goes wrong. That's fear wearing discipline's disguise. You have a choice. You can keep controlling outcomes, or you can start trusting the current. Because the current doesn't need your control. It needs your permission. And you've been withholding it. Money wants to move. It wants to circulate. But you keep gripping it, guarding it, fearing it. And what you fear, you freeze. That's why your flow feels stuck. Let me paint it for you. Someone gets a sudden raise, and instead of celebrating, they panic. They think, what if this doesn't last? What if I lose it? So they start spending impulsively or doubting their own success. And sure enough, they lose it. Not because the opportunity was wrong, because the belief behind it couldn't hold the energy. That's resistance at work. Resistance doesn't destroy flow, it distracts it. It redirects it into doubt, guilt, or overthinking. You might say, I'm not resisting. I'm just being careful. But there's a difference between caution and contraction. Caution is wisdom. Contraction is fear pretending to protect you. When you hesitate, you block momentum. When you question yourself endlessly, you leak energy. And energy leaks are the death of flow. Every time you doubt, you disconnect the current. Say that again. Every time you doubt, you disconnect the current. Because the current is built on trust. And trust can't live in the same space as fear. You want to know why most people never experience true abundance? Because they never stop fighting themselves long enough to receive it. Receiving feels unsafe to the unworthy. Receiving feels foreign to the guilty. Receiving feels heavy to the fearful. That's why resistance hides under humility. It says, I don't need too much. It says, as long as I'm comfortable, I'm fine. But those are just elegant words for fear of expansion. You have to stop treating comfort as a virtue. Comfort is not peace, it's paralysis. Flow doesn't live in comfort. Flow lives in movement. You have a choice, cling to control or commit to flow. You can't do both. Let's break down the 3 main roots of resistance, so you can recognize them in your own life. Guilt. You feel guilty for wanting more. You've been conditioned to believe that desiring wealth is selfish. So when abundance starts to appear, you sabotage it to stay good. But guilt doesn't make you moral. It makes you miserable. You don't need to apologize for your expansion. You need to honor it, too. Fear. You fear losing what you gain. You fear standing out. You fear responsibility. But fear is just imagination pointed in the wrong direction. You can choose to imagine loss, or you can choose to imagine flow. That's the discipline. It's not about fear, it's about focus. So, unworthiness. You've been trained to believe you have to earn everything. So you block blessings because you don't feel ready for them. But readiness is not the requirement. Receptivity is. You don't become worthy by proving, and you become worthy by allowing. That's the shift. So how do you dissolve resistance? Not by fighting it, by exposing it. Awareness is the solvent of resistance. Start noticing where you hesitate, where you overthink, where you make things harder than they need to be. Ask yourself, what part of me doesn't feel safe receiving this? That question reveals the truth. Because resistance isn't logical, it's emotional. It's the body saying, I don't know how to hold this level of peace yet, so you train it. You teach your nervous system that abundance is safe. You breathe through the discomfort. You let the flow in, even when it feels unfamiliar. That's the real work. You don't force flow. You learn to stop resisting it. You'll notice something magical happens when you release resistance. Opportunities feel lighter. Decisions become easier. Money stops being a source of anxiety and becomes a mirror of your expansion. Because flow is your natural state, resistance is the interruption. Every time you doubt, you disconnect the current. But every time you trust, you reopen it. You don't need to chase. You don't need to control. You just need to clear. Clear the fear. Clear the guilt. Clear the self-doubt. That's how you make space for wealth to move through you. And when you do, you'll realize it was never about money. It was about your relationship with receiving. Money was just the mirror showing you where you resist life itself. You have a choice right now to keep clinging to resistance or to release it and flow freely. One keeps you small, the other sets you free. You can't move forward if you're still holding your own brakes. Let go, trust the current, and let it carry you where you're meant to go. Because resistance is not protection. It's postponement. And the longer you resist, the longer you delay your own peace. So stop fighting the flow that was designed to bless you. Open, receive, trust. Now you understand resistance, how it hides, how it binds, how it drains. You've seen how doubt disconnects the current, but there's another layer most people miss. The external distractions that scatter their focus and weaken their flow. You've cleared the internal block. Now it's time to protect your energy from the noise around you. Chapter 4, Emotional Flow. Financial flow. Money doesn't follow logic. It follows energy, and emotion is energy. You think you're managing your finances with reason, with numbers, spreadsheets, strategy. But in truth, your bank account is reflecting one thing, the emotional signal you broadcast every single day. Money responds to emotion, not logic. Emotion is the current. Logic is just the map. That's the law of flow. When your emotional current is open, when you feel relaxed, grateful, grounded, money starts to move toward you. When your emotional current is tight and when you feel afraid, guilty, or desperate, money pulls away. You've seen this happen before. When you're in flow, opportunities come out of nowhere. You meet the right person. You get the unexpected offer. The deal closes easily. But when you're tense, when you're trying to force things, everything stalls. Calls don't get returned. Payments get delayed. Clients back out. It's not coincidence. It's coherence. Tension blocks flow. Relaxation restores it. Say that again. Tension blocks flow. Relaxation restores it. You can't trick money with fake positivity. It doesn't respond to affirmations if your body is screaming lack. Money reads energy, not words. Think about the last time you worried about bills. Your chest tightened. Your breath got shallow. Your thoughts looped. You were broadcasting one frequency, fear, and fear tells the universe one thing: stop sending. Because flow and fear can't occupy the same space. Flow needs trust. Fear needs control. And you can't hold both. You have a choice. Every moment you either feed fear or feed flow. That's the key. Let's make this practical. You want to attract more money. Start regulating your emotional current. Stop letting your emotions be hijacked by the external world. Stop letting your bank balance dictate your energy. You say, I'll relax when I have more money. But the truth is, you'll have more money when you relax. Money doesn't come to tension. Money comes to trust. You've been trained to think the opposite, that worry equals responsibility, that anxiety equals control. That's the lie that keeps you stuck. Worry doesn't create control. It creates constriction, and constriction kills flow. When you're relaxed, you make better decisions. You notice opportunities. You're magnetic. People want to work with you. You become a frequency match for abundance. When you're desperate, you repel it all. You say yes to wrong deals. You chase things that drain you. You broadcast chaos. And chaos doesn't attract wealth. It destroys it. Here's the pattern most people live in. They feel lack. That lack triggers fear. Fear triggers control. Control triggers burnout. And burnout triggers more lack. That's the emotional loop of financial stagnation. But flow begins the moment you break that loop. How? By reversing the order. Feel trust. Trust triggers openness. Openness triggers creativity. Creativity triggers opportunity. And opportunity triggers abundance. That's the emotional loop of wealth. You don't earn your way into abundance, and you vibrate your way into it. And that starts with emotional discipline. You have to train your nervous system to stay calm under pressure. That's your real financial education. Because your emotions are either your biggest liability or your greatest asset. Here's the truth. Most people don't have money problems. They have regulation problems. They can't hold the energy of expansion. The moment more comes in, they panic. They self-sabotage. They shrink. Because deep down, their body is wired for struggle, not flow. You say you want abundance, but can you handle abundance? Can you hold peace while receiving more? Can you stay grounded while things expand? Or will you tense up, doubt it, and send the current away again? Remember, every time you doubt, you disconnect the current. That's the hidden resistance. That's what blocks the flow. So how do you fix it? You slow down. You breathe deeper. You stop forcing. You stop chasing outcomes. You start aligning your emotion with your intention. You make peace your baseline, not your reward. That's the shift. You want to rewire your relationship with money? Start with this. Before you make a financial decision, pause. Check your body. Is it tight? Is it open? Is it anxious? Because your body is the antenna of your flow. If it's tight, don't move. If it's open, go forward. Because emotion precedes manifestation. Always. Let's talk about emotional detox. Because if you've spent years operating from fear, guilt, or control, your nervous system is addicted to tension. You'll even seek out stress when it's not there. Why? Because it feels familiar. You've mistaken tension for safety. But that's not safety. That's sabotage. You have to retrain yourself to feel safe in calmness, to trust the pause, to believe that stillness is productive. Because when you relax, your intuition wakes up. And when your intuition wakes up, money starts moving again. Start observing yourself this week. Notice the moments you clench up. During a sales call, checking your balance, making a big purchase. That's your signal. That's the emotional break in your flow. Don't judge it. Just breathe through it. Remind yourself, tension blocks flow. Relaxation restores it. Repeat it out loud until your body believes it. Not your mind and your body, because money doesn't follow words. It follows vibration. And your vibration is trained through repetition, through practice, through emotional awareness. That's how you build financial flow from the inside out. You regulate your emotions before you try to regulate your income. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Your emotional state is your financial statement. Look at your money. It's mirroring your nervous system. If you're in survival, your money will stay in survival. If you're in flow, your money will start to flow. That's why millionaires can lose everything and rebuild. Because their emotional flow is stable. They're calm in chaos. They trust the current. They don't chase. They don't panic. They stay aligned. And the universe responds to that alignment every single time. So remember this. Money doesn't come to the smartest. It comes to the most regulated. To the ones who know how to stay open when others close. To the ones who trust the current when others fight it. You have a choice in every moment on to contract or to flow. Choose flow. Because flow is wealth. Flow is freedom. Flow is the state where everything starts to work. You've learned how your emotions either feed or block your financial current. Now it's time to go deeper. Into how your environment amplifies or drains that flow. You've stabilized your emotions. Now let's strengthen your field. Chapter 5. The frequency of enough. You've been chasing more your entire life. More money, more success, more validation. But here's the paradox. The moment you feel enough, you become a magnet for more. Because more doesn't come from need. More comes from wholeness. And that's the secret most people never learn. You've been programmed to believe that hunger equals drive, that dissatisfaction equals motivation. But that's not true. Hunger rooted in lack creates desperation, and desperation pushes everything away. Scarcity isn't cured by earning more. It's cured by ending the internal war of not enough yet. You have to understand this. Your financial reality is just a mirror. And what it reflects most clearly is your sense of enoughness. Let's be honest. You've told yourself this story before. When I hit this number, I'll finally relax. When I get that promotion, I'll finally feel secure. When I buy that house, then I'll know I've made it. But every time you get there, it moves again. The number changes. The goal shifts. The peace you thought you were chasing, still missing. Why? Because you were chasing peace from a place of lack. You were saying, I'll feel enough when I have more. But the universe doesn't work like that. The law of flow says, you don't attract what you want. you attract what you are. And if you are constantly vibrating with not enough, you'll keep manifesting more not enough. Think about it. You can have a full account and still feel poor. You can have recognition and still feel invisible. You can have options and still feel trapped. Because it was never about the amount. It was always about the frequency. When you live in scarcity, your actions might look productive. Working harder, staying late, pushing through. But the energy behind those actions is fear. Fear that it's not enough. Fear that you're not enough. And fear disconnects you from flow, because flow only responds to gratitude. That's the key. Gratitude opens the gate. Need keeps it locked. Let's make this clear. Feeling enough doesn't mean settling. It doesn't mean giving up ambition. It means shifting your foundation from lack to wholeness. You stop hustling to fill a void. You start creating from overflow. And creation from overflow is the highest frequency of wealth. You can't pour from an empty cup. But when your cup is already full, everything you touch expands. Every idea lands. Every conversation opens a door. Every move compounds. That's not magic. That's alignment. Here's how you know you're stuck in scarcity. You keep saying, I'll rest when, I'll be happy when, I'll slow down once. That's not discipline. That's slavery, because your worth is still attached to a moving target. And a moving target never lets you rest. You have a choice. You can keep chasing the illusion of enough, or you can decide right now that you are enough. That decision, that inner declaration, changes your frequency instantly. Because the moment you feel enough, you stop chasing, and you start magnetizing. Let's talk about energy. Every emotion you feel is a broadcast. Gratitude says, I already have. Fear says, I don't have enough. And the universe always responds to the signal you send. When you're in gratitude, you're open, you're relaxed, you're connected. That openness creates flow, opportunities, ideas, synchronicities. When you're in need, you're closed. You're tight, you're disconnected. And that closure blocks flow, delays, stress, loss. It's not punishment. It's resonance. Tension blocks flow. Relaxation restores it. And gratitude creates it. So how do you shift into the frequency of enough? Start small. Start daily. When you wake up, before you touch your phone, before you check your account, say this out loud. I have enough. I am enough. And more is on its way. Then feel it. Don't just say it. Feel it in your body. Because belief is not a thought. It's the software of your financial reality. Your subconscious doesn't respond to numbers. It responds to emotion. If your emotion says lack, your reality will reflect it, no matter how much you earn. That's why people who win the lottery often lose it all. They changed their income, but not their frequency. They were still vibrating with not enough. And that energy will always find a way to return to what's familiar. This is why you must practice enoughness like a discipline. Not once, not sometimes, daily. Like brushing your teeth or training a muscle. You train your brain to recognize sufficiency. You train your heart to feel abundance before proof. Because that's what aligns your external world with your internal truth. You don't wait for the world to show you you're abundant. You show the world through your vibration that you already are. That's the work. That's the discipline. And that's what separates constant chasers from consistent receivers. Here's your real-world challenge for 1 week. Stop saying, I need. Replace it with, I choose. Stop saying, I can't afford it. Replace it with, it's not aligned right now. Stop saying when I have more. Replace it with, I already have enough. You'll notice the energy shift instantly, because words carry vibration. And your language trains your nervous system. It trains your focus. It trains your flow. The more you speak from enoughness, the more reality aligns to confirm it. Remember this. You can't receive from a frequency of not enough. It's like trying to tune into a station you're not broadcasting. Abundance is a signal. You either match it or you miss it. Gratitude is how you tune in. Need is how you tune out. So ask yourself right now, which frequency are you living in? Scarcity or sufficiency? Fear or gratitude? Control or trust? You can't hold both. You must choose one. You have a choice. Choose the one that opens the gate. Because when you finally feel enough, you stop chasing what's outside and start attracting from within. You stop needing validation, approval, or numbers to feel worthy. You stop performing. You start creating. You stop begging. You start receiving. That's the shift that turns financial tension into financial flow. That's how you move from survival to expansion. From fear to freedom, gratitude opens the gate. Need keeps it locked. And only one of them will set you free. You've learned the power of gratitude and sufficiency, how the frequency of enough transforms your entire relationship with money. Now it's time to move into the next dimension of flow, the external field that either amplifies or collapses your energy. You've aligned your belief. You've stabilized your emotions. You've anchored your frequency. Now let's talk about your environment. Chapter 6. Rewiring your flow identity. You can't out-earn your self-image. You can't outperform the story you tell yourself about who you are. That's not motivational talk. That's a law of flow. Every dollar you make, every opportunity you attract, every relationship that sustains you, all of it mirrors one thing: your identity. If you believe deep down that you're just getting by, your bank account will agree with you. If you see yourself as someone who's always behind, always chasing, always catching up, life will make sure you stay there. Because flow follows belief. Energy follows self-image. Let's get one truth straight. You will never rise above the person you believe yourself to be. That belief is your real financial ceiling. You can't hack it. You can't fake it. You can't hustle your way past it. You can make $1 million and still lose it if your identity hasn't caught up. You can attract opportunities and sabotage them if your self-concept says, "I'm not ready." You can read every book, listen to every podcast, recite every affirmation, and still be broke in spirit. If the image you hold inside still whispers, "I don't deserve it," that's the cage most people live in. They think money is about numbers, skills, or luck. It's not. Money is identity made visible. It's how your subconscious sees itself, printed in digits. So the work is not just about earning more. It's about becoming more. Not doing rich things, but being the current that moves wealth. Let that sink in. I am the current that moves wealth. Say it again. Not because it's pretty, but because it's programming. Every repetition rewires your nervous system to a new reality. Every time you say it, you challenge the old pattern of "I'm just getting by." This is how flow identity is built. Repetition, emotion, discipline. It's not about shouting affirmations into the mirror once a week. It's about embodying a new frequency daily. It's about how you walk, how you think, how you treat your time. It's about how you respond when scarcity whispers, "You can't afford that." You pause, and you say, "I decide what I can afford. I move wealth. It flows through me." You have a choice. Keep living as the version of you that survives, or upgrade to the version that creates. Because here's the truth. Your old identity has done its job. It kept you safe. It got you this far. But it wasn't designed for abundance. It was programmed for survival. And survival thinking is the enemy of flow. Flow thrives in expansion, not fear. Flow is abundance in motion, not scarcity in disguise. So when you feel that tension between who you are and who you want to be, that's the signal. That's your subconscious asking for new code. Don't numb it. Don't distract yourself. Reprogram it. Start by observing your language. Listen to the way you describe yourself. Every "I can't," every "I'm not good with money," every "I just need enough," those are identity leaks. Those are commands your subconscious is obeying. Change the command. Change the current. Replace "I'm surviving" with "I'm expanding." Replace "I'm chasing money" with "I attract opportunities." Replace "I'm learning" with "I embody wealth." That's not delusion. That's reprogramming. That's how you train your inner frequency to align with the reality you want to live. You see, flow doesn't respond to effort. It responds to alignment. And alignment begins with identity. Identity before income. Flow before fortune. Repeat it until it becomes part of you. Write it where you can see it every day. Whisper it when you wake up. Declare it before you sleep. Identity before income. Flow before fortune. Because the world won't believe you're wealthy until you do. The opportunities won't stick until you see yourself as someone who's capable of handling them. You can't manage overflow with a barely enough mindset. So what's the process? Step 1, awareness. Catch the old identity in action. When you hear yourself say, "I'm just trying to make ends meet," pause. That's your old software speaking. No judgment, just notice it. Step 2, interrupt the pattern. Change the script in the moment. Say, "No, that's not me anymore. I'm not trying, I'm creating." I'm expanding. I'm building flow. You don't need anyone's permission to update who you are. Step 3. Reinforce through behavior. Identity isn't just mental, it's behavioral. Act as the person who already moves wealth, even in small ways. Respect your money. Respect your time. Respect your word. That's how you rewire trust within yourself. And flow trusts those who trust themselves. It's not about faking it. It's about becoming it. Identity before income, flow before fortune. You see, wealth doesn't respond to need. It responds to identity congruence. When your beliefs, words, and actions align with the energy of expansion, flow opens. When they conflict, flow clogs. So who are you becoming? That's not a surface question. That's your financial blueprint. That's your energetic credit score. Because everything you attract and or repel answers one question. Who do you think you are? If the answer is still someone who's trying, then life will keep you trying. If the answer becomes someone who moves wealth, life will rearrange itself to match that truth. That's the law. That's the key. You don't need more strategies. You need a new self-concept. Because strategy without identity is self-sabotage. You'll always find a way to lose what you aren't ready to hold. Rewiring your flow identity means stepping into ownership. You stop asking for permission to succeed. You stop apologizing for wanting more. You stop shrinking so others can stay comfortable. You stop saying, I'm trying to figure it out. And you start saying, I'm becoming who I'm meant to be. That's the transformation. That's the work. That's the flow. And it's available the moment you decide to update your identity. Because remember, money is just energy. And energy obeys belief. You don't chase it. You channel it. You don't beg for it. You become it. Identity before income. Flow before fortune. You are not just earning money. You are embodying wealth. You are not waiting for your breakthrough. You are the breakthrough. That's the rewiring. That's the power. You've just redefined who you are in the current of life. And once you do that, the flow never stops. You've mastered your inner current. Now let's take it to the next level. Because once you become the flow, you must learn how to sustain it. Chapter 7. Letting go of control. Control is an illusion. You think you need it. You think it keeps you safe. But in truth, it's the very thing that keeps you stuck. The need to control everything is what kills momentum. The obsession to manage every outcome, to predict every turn, to force every result. That's what blocks your flow. You can't flow and control at the same time. They're opposites. Flow doesn't come from force. Flow comes from trust. The tighter you grip, the faster life slips through your fingers. You've been taught that control equals power, but in the language of flow, control equals fear. And fear is resistance. That's the root of burnout, anxiety, and constant tension. Let's be honest. You think control keeps you safe. It doesn't. It keeps you small. It keeps you in the illusion that safety is something you can engineer, when in truth, safety is something you create from within. That's the key. You don't need to control the current. You need to trust the current. You don't need to know where every wave leads. You need to know how to stay balanced when it shifts. The moment you let go, the current takes over. That's the paradox of power. The more you surrender, the more influence you gain, because now you're aligned with the natural rhythm of things. Think about it. Every successful entrepreneur, leader, or creator who has sustained their success learned this one truth. You can't scale control. You can hustle your way to 6 figures, but you can't control your way to flow. You can micromanage your team, your schedule, your systems, and burn out in the process. Or you can delegate. You can trust. You can release. That's what separates those who thrive from those who collapse. The ones who thrive have learned to surrender to structure. They build systems, and then they trust those systems. They hire people, and then they trust those people. They stop trying to do everything and start focusing on what only they can do. You have a choice. You can either be the bottleneck or the breakthrough. You can either choke the current with control or unleash it with trust. Because here's what most people never understand. Control is ego in disguise. It says, if I don't manage it, it won't happen. It says, No one can do it like me. It says, I can't rest until everything's perfect. That voice sounds like responsibility, but it's fear. Fear of letting go. Fear of being disappointed. Fear of losing identity. You've attached your worth to being in control, but control is not your worth. Control is your cage. And here's the irony. The more you try to control, the more chaotic things become. Because energy can't move where it's being suffocated. When you micromanage your team, you kill their creativity. When you overplan every move, you kill spontaneity. When you refuse to rest, you kill clarity. That's not leadership. That's exhaustion. That's not discipline. That's desperation. It's not about control. It's about confidence. Confidence in yourself. Confidence in your systems. Confidence in the current. That's the real discipline of flow. Letting go with trust. Let me show you the difference. Entrepreneur. A runs their business like a fortress. They control every detail. They review every message. They stay up late, redoing what their team already did. They brag about working 100-hour weeks, but deep down they're drowning. They confuse motion with progress. They confuse tension with commitment. Entrepreneur B, they build structure. They hire well. They communicate expectations clearly. Then they get out of the way. They don't chase every fire because they built systems that put them out automatically. They know when to step in and when to stay out. And because they trust the process, their energy is clean. Their flow is open. Guess which one wins long term? The one who surrenders. The one who lets go. Because the moment you let go, the current takes over. You don't need to force momentum. You need to allow momentum. And that starts by releasing your grip. You see, control is rooted in scarcity. It's the subconscious belief that if I don't do it, it won't get done. Flow is rooted in abundance. It says, everything that's meant to move will move when I align with it. That's the shift. That's the rewiring. Letting go isn't weakness, it's mastery. It's saying, I've done my part. Now I trust the current. It's saying, I don't chase outcomes. I attract alignment. When you live this way, your energy changes. You move from pressure to presence, from anxiety to awareness, from chaos to clarity, because flow doesn't respond to panic. Flow responds to peace. The moment you stop trying to force it, it finds you. And I know, letting go sounds risky. It feels like losing control. But that's because your ego doesn't trust your higher self yet. You've built your identity around control. Now you must rebuild it around trust. That's the evolution. That's where freedom begins. Try this in your own life. Start small. When something goes off plan, don't rush to fix it. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, what if this is still part of the flow? That's how you train your nervous system to stay calm in uncertainty. When you delegate a task, don't hover. Trust that you've chosen well. If the result isn't perfect, don't collapse. Refine the process, not the control. When money feels slow, don't panic. Remember, money flows through trust, not tension. Tight fists can't receive. Open hands can. You have a choice. Every moment, control or flow, fear or trust, force or surrender. That's the test of mastery. And the truth is, you never really controlled anything anyway. You were always being guided. Every failure, every delay, every detour, it was never chaos. It was calibration. The current was always leading you here. To this moment. To this lesson. The moment you let go, the current takes over. Say it again. The moment I let go, the current takes over. That's not weakness. That's alignment. That's power, because when you stop controlling outcomes, you start commanding energy. You start operating from clarity, not fear. You start trusting that what's meant for you won't miss you. That's the flow identity in action. That's leadership without tension. That's creation without chaos. So let go. Trust yourself. Trust the current. Let the energy move where it wants to go, because flow doesn't need your control. It needs your permission. And when you finally give it, everything begins to accelerate. The moment you let go, the current takes over. That's the law of flow. That's the key. You've learned how to release control. Now you're ready for the next evolution. Because once you trust the current, the next challenge is sustaining it without collapse. Chapter 8. Flow habits that build wealth. Wealth isn't built in bursts. It's built in rhythm, in discipline, in the quiet, repeated actions you do when no one's watching, because flow doesn't come from chaos. It comes from consistency, from structure that supports energy, from habits that clean the current, day after day after day. Here's the truth. Your habits are either feeding your flow or blocking it. There's no in-between. You're either creating expansion or creating resistance. That's the key. You can talk about money mindset all you want, but without flow habits, it's just noise. Energy without structure dissipates. Discipline gives it direction. Discipline keeps the current clean, and that's what most people miss. They think wealth is about big breakthroughs. They think it's about a viral moment, a lucky deal, or a sudden spike. It's not. Wealth is built by small, consistent, aligned actions, done over time with clear energy. It's about how you start your day. It's about how you end your day. It's about how you handle the space between those two moments. Let's break it down. The morning flow, setting the frequency. Your morning sets your frequency. It's not about how early you wake up. It's about how intentionally you begin. When you wake up and check your phone, you're not just scrolling. You're surrendering your energy to everyone else's urgency. You've already lost your current before the day begins. You have a choice. You can react to the world or command it. Start your day with direction. Even 5 minutes of focus changes everything. 5 minutes of silence, 5 minutes of breath, 5 minutes of gratitude. You think it's too simple? That's the point. Simplicity is power, because flow doesn't need complexity. It needs clarity. When you sit in stillness and ask, what energy do I choose to move in today? You're programming your frequency. You're setting your internal software before the world installs its noise. That's what creates flow. Not more effort, more alignment. Gratitude reflection. The anchor of enough gratitude isn't cliché. It's currency. When you operate from gratitude, you send a signal. I already have enough. And when you feel enough, you attract more. You see, the universe doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to stability. Gratitude stabilizes your vibration. It grounds your energy in abundance. Here's the practice. Every day, list 3 things that are already working. Not future desires, not goals. What's working right now? You'll feel a shift instantly, because when you acknowledge what's flowing, you amplify it. When you dwell on what's missing, you block it. Remember, gratitude opens the gate. Need keeps it locked. This is more than emotion. It's energetic discipline. Every moment you choose gratitude, you reinforce flow. Every time you slip into not enough yet, you interrupt it. So train your focus. Direct it toward what's growing and not what's gone. That's how wealth-conscious people think. That's how they move. They practice gratitude not as a hobby but as hygiene. Because gratitude keeps your current clean. Here, the discipline of detachment. The power of letting results. Go now, listen closely. This is where most people destroy their own flow. They do the right things, and then ruin it by obsessing over the outcome. They meditate but check their bank balance 5 minutes later. They visualize but panic when the deal takes longer than expected. They say they trust the process, no, but they suffocate it with impatience. That's not flow. That's control dressed as faith. You have to detach. Do your part, then let go. That's the discipline. Because every time you chase the result, you tell the universe you don't trust it. And every time you doubt, you disconnect the current. You can't control timing. You can't control how your blessings arrive. You can only control your alignment, your energy, your preparation, your actions. So stop refreshing the results. Stop begging for confirmation. Stop needing proof before peace. Flow doesn't need proof. Flow is proof. Your job is to show up, stay aligned, and let the current deliver. That's how power moves. Remember, discipline keeps the current clean. And the most powerful discipline is detachment. The power of compounding flow. Big actions create noise. Small actions create momentum. Every day you're either feeding the flow or clogging it, and the difference is found in your habits. Here's the truth about compounding. It's not just about money. It's about energy. The more you repeat a high-frequency action, like gratitude, focus, or detachment, the more your energetic baseline rises. And when your baseline rises, your outer results follow. That's why the small things matter. Because they compound. You skip one morning routine, you drift a little. You skip gratitude, you dim your frequency. You chase the result, you choke the current. Then you wonder why flow feels blocked. It's not magic. It's math. Energy compounds exactly like interest does. Each small act of discipline adds a layer of momentum. Each small moment of gratitude adds a layer of abundance. Each small release of control adds a layer of peace. The current strengthens. The current cleans. The current flows. That's how wealth builds. Not from intensity, from integrity. Not from effort, from energy. And the flow routine, daily alignment. Let's make this practical. Here's what a simple flow routine looks like. Morning, 5 minutes of silence or breath. Center your frequency. Statements of gratitude. Open the gate. Clear intention. Direct your current. Midday. Pause. Step away from noise. Take one conscious breath. Ask, am I forcing or flowing? If you're forcing, reset evening. Reflect on what worked. Release what didn't. End with gratitude. Again, always gratitude, that's it. Simple, repeatable, powerful. Flow doesn't require hours of rituals, and it requires discipline and energy. Because what matters isn't how long you practice. What matters is how consistently you return. Discipline keeps the current clean. The truth about flow and wealth is not a reward for hard work. It's a reflection of alignment. When your energy is clear, your flow is open. When your habits are clean, your current strengthens. When your discipline is consistent, your results compound. Most people will never understand this because they're addicted to chaos. They need struggle to feel alive. They confuse burnout with progress, but you're learning something deeper. That energy, not effort, is the real economy. That discipline, not drama, is the real power. That presence, not pressure, is the real advantage. You have a choice. Keep reacting or start ritualizing. Keep forcing or start flowing. Because once you master your habits, you master your current. And when you master your current, you master your wealth. That's the secret the wealthy rarely talk about. Not because it's hidden, but because it's simple. And simplicity doesn't sell chaos, but it builds empires. Discipline keeps the current clean. That's the mantra. Repeat it daily. Live it deeply. You don't need to do more. You need to align more. You don't need to add noise. You need to remove resistance, because the truth is, wealth doesn't respond to force. It responds to frequency, and the cleaner your habits, the stronger your signal. You've built your flow discipline. You've anchored your energy. Now it's time to take that flow beyond habit, into identity. Because consistency without consciousness turns into routine. But when discipline meets identity, flow becomes who you are. You've learned to keep your current clean. Now let's talk about expanding that current into influence. Chapter 9, the mirror of your environment. Look around you. Everything you see is a reflection of what you tolerate. Your environment isn't neutral, and it's a mirror. It reflects your standards, your focus, and your internal state. If your surroundings are chaotic, don't be surprised when your mind feels scattered. If your circle is negative, don't wonder why your energy feels heavy. If your media diet is toxic, don't ask why you keep doubting yourself. You can't stay abundant in a cluttered current. You can't attract flow from a space filled with noise. That's the truth most people avoid. They want success without changing their environment. They want focus while living in distraction. They want peace while surrounding themselves with chaos. But here's the reality. Energy multiplies what surrounds it. If your environment leaks energy, your results will too. If your circle drains your spirit, your flow will fade. If your space tells your nervous system you're behind, it becomes your truth. You have a choice. You can audit your environment, or let it audit you. You can design your surroundings or be designed by them. Audit your space. Start with your physical space. Look at your room, your desk, your phone, your digital world. Every object holds energy. Every cluttered corner carries delay. Every unkept space whispers, "I'll do it later." That whisper is poison to flow. Clean your desk. Organize your files. Remove the unnecessary why, because simplicity strengthens signal. When your space is clean, your focus is clean. When your focus is clean, your current flows. It's not about being neat. It's about being intentional. The minimalist isn't superior, they're efficient. They remove what doesn't serve the current. They understand that excess blocks energy. Flow thrives in clarity. Abundance thrives in order. You can't stay abundant in a cluttered current. So here's your assignment. Audit your environment as if your life depends on it, because it does. Ask yourself, what in my space represents the person I'm becoming? What in my space keeps me anchored to who I used to be? If it drains you, release it. If it distracts you, hide it. If it inspires you, highlight it. That's the key. You don't need to renovate your life. Just reorganize your energy. Audit your circle. Now look beyond the walls, to the people around you. Your circle is either your current, or your current is stuck because of them. Energy is contagious. Ambition spreads. So does fear. Hope compounds. So does doubt. Ask yourself, who challenges me to level up? Who keeps me playing small? Who drains me and who refills me? You can't pour abundance into a leaky container. You can't evolve in rooms that reward comfort. It's not about cutting people off. It's about changing your frequency. When your energy rises, not everyone will resonate. That's okay. You're not leaving them behind. You're letting them choose, because your environment mirrors your direction. If you want to move forward, you must surround yourself with movement. If you want to grow wealth, you must surround yourself with growth. If you want to live in flow, you must surround yourself with flow. That's discipline. That's ownership. You don't need their permission to outgrow their comfort. You don't need their approval to change your circle. You just need alignment. Flow isn't a solo act, but it does require sovereignty. Remember this. You can't stay abundant in a cluttered current. Audit. Your inputs, your environment isn't just physical. It's digital, emotional, spiritual. What are you consuming? What do you scroll? What voices are shaping your reality? You become what you repeatedly absorb. If your media intake is fear, you'll act in fear. If your feed is drama, you'll live in distraction. If your mind is filled with noise, your intuition will fade. That's not theory. That's frequency. Every input carries vibration. Every thought carries current. And every moment you're either charging your energy or draining it. So protect your feed. Curate your consumption. Replace noise with nourishment. Feed your mind what aligns with your vision. That's discipline. That's focus. That's how energy compounds. You don't need to delete the world, just filter your flow. Designing energy, not just space environment, isn't just about where you live. It's about what you allow to live within you. Gratitude, peace, and clarity are environmental settings, internal ones. When your internal environment is clean, your external world aligns. So start each day with an energy check. Ask yourself, what do I want my energy to feel like today? What am I allowing into my mental space? You don't clean your house once, you clean it daily. Your energy deserves the same consistency. Flow isn't built in a day, it's maintained through habit. Every morning, choose clarity. Every evening, release clutter. That's how you stay aligned with abundance, because you can't stay abundant in a cluttered current. Repetition is the ritual. Let's bring this home. Flow isn't found, it's created. Abundance isn't discovered, it's designed. Your environment is your mirror. Every time you choose order, you reinforce discipline. Every time you remove noise, you strengthen signal. Every time you refine your space, you refine your flow. You have a choice, to live reactively or live intentionally. One path drains, the other multiplies. The flow state isn't magic, and it's maintenance. You don't need a new life. You need new surroundings. You don't need permission. You need awareness. Because when your environment is aligned with your purpose, abundance accelerates, clarity compounds, and flow becomes your default state. That's the key. You've cleaned the current. You've aligned your environment. You've protected your flow. But there's one more layer, the environment inside your mind. Before you can master money, you must master meaning. Before you can attract wealth, you must define what it truly means. You've built the space. Now let's explore the foundation. Chapter 10. Becoming the source. At some point on this path, you stop chasing. You stop running after money. You stop begging for opportunity. You stop needing validation. You realize something deeper and something powerful. You are not chasing the current. You are the current, that's the shift. That's the transformation that separates those who stay in survival from those who live in flow. Most people spend their whole lives chasing supply. They chase money. They chase clients. They chase luck. They chase approval, attention, and applause, but chasing is the behavior of scarcity. Seeking is the signal of lack. When you're chasing, you're telling the universe, I don't have enough. I'm not enough. I need something outside of me to complete me. And the universe listens. Because energy doesn't respond to words. It responds to state. And scarcity always attracts more scarcity. That's why the wealthy don't chase, they create. They don't beg, they build. They don't seek validation, they radiate value. They've learned the ultimate rule of flow. Money chases impact. And impact comes from source. You are not chasing the current. You are the current. The shift from seeking to serving. Let's make this simple. There are two ways to live. You either operate as a seeker or as a source. The seeker asks, what can I get? The source asks, what can I give? The seeker competes for attention. The source commands attention through authenticity. The seeker fears running out. The source knows there's always more where that came from. The seeker survives. The source expands. You have a choice. Every time you show up to work, every conversation, every transaction, you decide which one you are. If you're showing up to get, you'll always feel like you're running out. If you're showing up to give, you'll always overflow. That's the key. Because the source never runs out. It replenishes itself. Money flows to energy that multiplies others. The current rewards contribution. When you become a source, one of wisdom, of peace, of value, you align with abundance. And abundance never abandons its source. Why money chases impact? Money doesn't chase effort. It chases impact. Effort alone doesn't move energy. Impact does. You can work all day, grind all night, and still feel empty if your energy is transactional. But when your intention shifts from taking to serving, everything changes. You stop fighting for attention. People start finding you. You stop forcing results. Flow starts forming naturally. You stop worrying about being enough. You become the standard, because money is just energy. Energy that amplifies what already exists. If your purpose is small, money stays small. If your purpose is big, money expands to match it. That's why serving is not charity. It's strategy. It's the highest wealth frequency there is. When you serve from authenticity, your energy vibrates at power. You create resonance, and resonance pulls resources. That's not mysticism. That's mechanics. You are not chasing the current. You are the current. Becoming the source in practice. Let's make it real. Becoming the source isn't about grand gestures. It's about alignment in small moments. It means bringing value before being asked. It means acting with excellence even when no one's watching. It means staying consistent even when the results aren't instant. Because flow doesn't reward what's seen. It rewards what's steady. When you operate from source, your presence becomes valuable. People feel calmer around you. They feel inspired, focused, safe. Why? Because you're not taking their energy. You're stabilizing it. And that's magnetic. Think about it. Who do you naturally trust? The one who constantly needs validation? Or the one who stands grounded, certain, and generous? You already know the answer. You're drawn to source energy because it feels abundant. It feels secure. It feels like flow. That's what you must become. You don't need to chase clients. You need to become the person clients chase. You don't need to beg for opportunity. You need to radiate value until opportunity can't ignore you. You don't need permission to give more. You just need the discipline to keep giving when no one's clapping yet. That's the test. That's the path. The abundance feedback loop. Here's how flow actually works. You give. You serve. You amplify others. And because energy multiplies, it finds its way back to you and in stronger, faster, bigger. That's the abundance feedback loop. It's not karma. It's circuitry. You are a transmitter. Every time you operate from fear, you short circuit. Every time you operate from faith, you expand the current. That's why your thoughts matter. Your words matter. Your intention matters. The current doesn't respond to noise. It responds to purity of signal. When your energy is clear, no manipulation, no desperation, you move the flow. Because flow recognizes itself. You are not chasing the current. You are the current. breaking the scarcity spell. Let's destroy a myth right now. You don't need more followers. You don't need more luck. You don't need more validation. You need more flow integrity. Integrity is when your intention, your action, and your energy are aligned. When you stop chasing outcomes and start mastering output. When you stop waiting for results and start being the result, that's power. That's leadership. Scarcity makes you reactive. Source makes you creative. Scarcity asks, what if it runs out? Source knows, I'll create more. You have a choice. You can stay in the loop of fear, or you can step into the current of faith. You can keep chasing what's running from you, or you can become what others chase. The difference isn't luck. It's alignment. It's not about perfection. It's about discipline. The discipline to stay centered when the noise gets loud. The discipline to serve when the ego wants to take. The discipline to remember, you are not chasing the current. You are the current. Be the frequency. Energy doesn't lie. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. If you want abundance, radiate abundance. If you want trust, embody trust. If you want peace, broadcast peace. Be the frequency. Be the example. Be the source. You can't fake this. The universe doesn't respond to performance when it responds to presence. When your energy is real, results become automatic. That's the paradox of flow. The moment you stop needing it, you have it. Because you've become it. You are not chasing the current. You are the current. You were never meant to struggle with money. You were meant to move it. Every doubt, every fear, every moment of control, it all blocks your flow. But when you align belief, emotion, and action, money stops being something you chase. It becomes something that chases you.